Thanks for joining in our third discussion on the topic, tourism in the Caribbean. So far we have looked at what is meant by tourism, who is a tourist, benefits of tourism to the Caribbean along with the problems caused as a result of tourism being a major thrust in the Caribbean. Today, I share in a few ideas as to how we as a region can help to manage our region as prime tourist location and still preserve our culture, standard of living, ecosystem along with generation of economic growth through this viable means of earning foreign exchange. It is of great importance that we as a region understand the types of threat faced by each environmental resource within the Caribbean. This is important as it provides considerable insight into the pattern of incentives faced by actors within the system. Understanding this pattern of incentives, in turn, can help policymakers develop management systems that leverage incentives rather than working against them, thus helping increase their chance of success and decrease their cost. Policies and measures are only effective if they are enforced, however, and lax enforcement of environmental policies is a common problem in the Caribbean and many other parts of the world. There can be, in some instances, changes in behavior that are win-win in the sense that they both reduce environmental damage and reduce costs for the actor undertaking them. The most obvious example of this class of problems is provided by the proliferation of water-saving and energy-saving schemes at hotels throughout the world, including the Caribbean, in which hotel guests are invited to forgo frequent bedsheet and towel cleaning. These efforts not only reduce potential pollution from hotels, but also reduce the hotel's cleaning costs, a clear example of a win-win situation. For example, British Airways estimates that it is saving approximately £1,000 per month in energy, water, and materials costs thanks to this type of measure. There is no need for government intervention to ensure such measures are taken. It is of great importance that we the stakeholders within the Caribbean region know that, when the environment problems come from outside the tourist sector, even if only partly so, self-regulation alone cannot address the whole problem. Separate measures are also needed to address the other causes. The greater the contribution of non-tourism sources, the less likely it is that either self-regulation by the tourist industry or externally imposed regulations targeted solely at the tourist industry will be sufficient. The tourism sector is not a single, monolithic agent. On the contrary, it is composed of a wide variety of agents, whose interests and abilities to take appropriate environmental protection measures often diverge. For example, although the tourism sector as a whole may have an incentive to address environmental problems, individual actors within the sector may well have an incentive to free ride, that is, to do nothing so that others bear the cost of addressing the problem while they enjoy the benefits. The greater the number of actors, the greater this incentive will be. Individual contributions to total pollution will be small, and coordination difficulties among all actors will be high. In St. Lucia, for example, there are 35 hotels, ranging from 7 large international chain hotels to small privately owned guest houses. In the case of Negril, cited above, coordination among stakeholders is particularly difficult because there are over 400 hotels and guest houses. Various initiatives are being implemented to halt the decline in quality of accommodation and other services. Important among these are the Quality Tourism for the Caribbean (QTC) initiative, the Green Globe and Blue Flag programs. The QTC initiative establishes a quality assurance system for hotels in the areas of health, hygiene and conservation. The program offers training and information and evaluations of health and hygiene practices. However, there is probably need for sanctions for hoteliers who consistently fail to meet required standards. The European Union (EU) Blue Flag Beach Certification Scheme grades beaches according to the quality of their services and beach maintenance, for example sand spread and quality. The program seeks to establish benchmarks for positive imitation and learning by hotels across the region. Barbados, for example, has 8 hotels that are Green Globe certified and a number of hotels are seeking Blue Flag certification. This would entail outfitting beaches with proper quality water, shower and other facilities and conveniences. The Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, aided by the Caribbean Hotel Association has promoted and marketed the region under the brand Caribbean model. The focus of this model is the concept of a regional product that is distinctive and differentiated from other destinations. Brand Caribbean is akin to a regional public good that has to be promoted by regional governments. Nevertheless, cooperation with hoteliers and other service providers is critical for providing their perspectives and experience to inform the marketing strategy. The Caribbean strategy is to focus on the high-value segment of the market that offers high-quality attractions and services. Obviously, there will still be some mass-market segments in the region, but policymakers want the region to be known much more for its high-quality sustainable segment and alternative products such as ecotourism, cultural and heritage tourism. This would entail the use of an integrated strategy to resuscitate and upgrade the quality of the product offering, incorporate the use of new and cutting-edge technology, and to strengthen labor productivity and efficiency in the sector. With respect to the issue of quality, carrying capacity limitations suggest that Caribbean destinations should focus on the high-end/high value-added segment of the market as far as possible. This offers the opportunity for providing a high-quality product that can be differentiated from mass product offerings. The reality is that tourists are not concerned with price of services by itself, but with value for money. This means that in many instances, they would prefer to purchase a higher quality, more expensive product that provides greater satisfaction. Small destinations such as those in the X countries are hard-pressed to cope with mass tourism given their limited land space and facilities, but have good potential in indigenous heritage, ecotourism and sports tourism among other areas. Product strategy of product diversification could promote health tourism as an area for prospective growth. Healthcare institutions providing comprehensive care, especially for the aged, could incorporate the use of hot water sulfur springs where they are available, alternative tropical medicines and treatments, and high-quality care and hospitality. Importantly, this type of tourism presents an avenue for developing linkages with the pharmaceutical industry, agriculture, and the communities in which springs, waterfalls and other natural restorative features are located. Branding, though well established in the mass market, is not often used in the marketing of alternative tourism. Different alternative brands could be developed to cater for multiple customer demand and promoted through strategic advertising, the meeting of standards and quality expectations, and be properly distinguished from other brands. For example, within the ecotourism subsector, high-quality nature trails could be labeled differently from lower-quality ones. Snorkeling sites should be graded as well as scuba diving and kayaking. Branding, though it entails added costs, provides the tourist with a sense of confidence that standards would be upheld and quality and safety adhered to. Consequently, it is an important means of maintaining the demand for the product. Caribbean governments have recognized that natural resource comparative advantage alone does not guarantee consumer demand for tourism. Therefore, from the inception of the sector, governments have used policy incentives and strategies to promote its development. The logic of tourism policy in the region derives from the antecedent industrialization by invitation strategy aimed at developing import substituting manufacturing. As a consequence, policy has been heavily skewed in favor of investment incentives to the exclusion of a wider and more integrated policy framework geared to the holistic development of the sector. For instance, incentives for attracting investment in new hotels, attractions and transport promotion were not usually supported by complementary incentives for product maintenance, innovation and human resource development. Fortunately, the challenges of competition have led a number of countries, particularly Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia and St. Kitts and Nevis, to develop more holistic and articulated tourism development strategies focused on sector productivity, innovation, sustainability and competitiveness based on high-quality service and value for money. The majority of firms in the regional tourism sector are small and medium enterprises, SMEs. SMEs are widespread in the hotel sector, tour operator, entertainment and ground transport and other activities. SMEs contribute to competition in an industry that has experienced growing levels of concentration, particularly consumer-unfriendly vertical integration, the result of mergers and acquisitions. Healthy competition is essential to a dynamic and vibrant sector that would be forced to improve the standard and quality of its service in order to survive. More important is the potential that small firms hold for improving innovation and creating new products, which are more important to competitiveness than price. The traditional tourism development incentive package was relatively standardized across the region, with notably little adaptation to take account of the bottlenecks and stage of development of the sector in individual countries. The standard investment package included 15-year exemption from corporate taxation, duty-free concessions for the import of construction materials, furniture, fittings and other materials, capital allowances, depreciation allowances and guaranteed unrestricted repatriation of profits, dividends and capital by foreign investors. There is also evidence of a lack of uniformity and equity in the administering of the incentives. Generally, the regime is biased in favor of larger hotels and other operators, which can exercise more political influence because of their size, the number of persons they employ and tax returns. Smaller hotels and operators have long clamored for a harmonized incentive regime, which will allow them from this standpoint to compete on the same footing as larger properties. The incentive framework for SMEs in the hotels, entertainment, transport and other sectors should be made as favorable or even more favorable than that for large firms in the sector. Tax incentives, duty-free concessions on imports and marketing assistance should be more favorable for small firms in the sector. Technical assistance under the EU Partnership Agreement and at the multilateral level should be fully utilized to provide a fill-up to growth and competitiveness in local SMEs. Technical assistance should be secured to upgrade the standards of operations, improve internal management practices, to improve product quality and to capture high value-added market niches for SMEs.